is Alex Vasquez.
And I'm Natalie McLeese.
And this is the Do Weekly Podcast.
A podcast for small business owners.
By small business owners.
Whoop!
So, Alex, this is our first podcast.
This is totally our first podcast, and I have to say, I never thought I'd actually do one of these that I was hosting. I just thought I would be a person who was asked to be on a podcast.
I think that's the extent of both of our experiences with podcasting before.
Wait, you've been asked to be on a podcast?
I have.
Oh, what's that like?
Once or twice.
What's that like?
Well, you just show up and talk for a while and then it's done.
No, but like, what's it like for people to be interested in the things that you have to say?
What?
Sorry. I'm not insecure or anything, but part of the reason that I wanted to do this podcast is to make people listen to the things that I have to say and build a platform around that.
Build a platform around yourself.
And you and us and us, for the world to hear us and to be enriched by our collective knowledge, your collective knowledge and my collective bullshit.
Do you think we're smarter than the average bear?
I think one of us is, and that's what I'm riding the coattails on right now. So you better not dumb this place up, Nat.
Me?
Hey, you don't gotta look at me like that. I know you can't see, but Natalie has this look. It goes straight through the eyeballs and out the other side. So, but yeah, this is okay. So back on track. So this is our first podcast. How did this happen?
Well, this happened because I called you up last week and harassed you into doing it.
You did. That's actually play by play how it happened. And I think when you said, "Hey, I want to do a podcast for small businesses and I want to make it like a weekly challenge sort of thing." And what was my response? Because I think I said that's the dumbest idea I've heard.
I'm pretty sure you said the opposite.
What did I say? Because I forgot.
You said it was the best idea I'd had since my last good idea.
That's true. And you've got a lot of good ideas. And I think I'm really great at supporting great ideas, which is why I'm here. So
yes, I would agree with that.
So what the hell are we doing here? So this is for small businesses, and we're drinking wine. Well, you're drinking wine. I'm having Earl Grey, an Earl Grey latte from Starbucks, which they told me is called a London Fog. But if it doesn't have sweetener in it, it's just an Earl Grey latte, also known as basic.
Oh, so it needs to have sugar in it to be in a London Fog?
You need to have sugar in you to not be basic. So yes and yes.
All right, then.
I'm not happy about that.
So my idea for this podcast, like bringing it back on track a little bit.
Oh, sure. We're going to be saying that a lot, I have a feeling.
Every 10 seconds.
But bringing it back on track, Nat.
Bringing it back on track, my idea was to create a podcast that I wanted to listen to. You and I both own our own small businesses. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure you know that it's impossible to stay on top of everything that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to take things that are actually important and put them on the back burner and to just constantly think, well, someday I'll get to it.
Yeah. And so there's a few things that come up for me. So the first thing that I always think of is this notion, this phrase, being strategic versus being tactical. Right? Which I feel so many business owners, and I'm guilty of this myself, we're always being tactical. We're working in the business rather than on the business.
Yeah.
And I deal with that every week too, with folks that I talk to, which I can get to in a little more detail. But which when you said this, I'm like, of course, of course this is a good idea. Everyone needs this. They just don't know it.
You think they don't know it, or they do know it?
Well, they don't. Look, it's like a cavity, right? You may not know it's there, but you know that you can't eat like crap all the time. So you have to do something right. Like you have to brush your teeth, or the pain's going to start happening. And like, I don't know where this is going. Like, the train is coming off the wheels. Natalie, bring me back. Bring me back.
So that they could have a cavity.
So, look, if you don't actually work on your business, it's not going to grow, and it's not going to get you to where you want to grow. I feel.
No, I agree. And I think it's just really easy to get bogged down in the day-to-day. And I need to take care of this customer, and I need to get this invoice paid, and I need to, just all the little daily tasks, and to not ever take the time to step back and do bigger picture planning, and to take care of things like updating your website, ordering new business cards, maybe redesigning your logo when you realize that your old one is no longer a fit.
Or maybe just finding a way to take a trip.
Yeah, finding a way to take a vacation.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought for the podcast was that we would have a small challenge for small business owners to do every week. Something you could easily manage in a week. Hopefully something that's not going to take more than an hour or two over the space of the week. But add it up week after week. When you keep doing these things, I think it adds up to a big improvement in your business, and hopefully a big improvement in your life, your control over how much your business controls your life. And I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Well, I get it, because I have not been a small business owner for a long time. On February 28th, which is just a couple weeks ago,
yep.
I celebrated my 4th year of working independently, having my own business, and being self-sustaining. And solvent at that too, which, I think is pretty huge. I mean, I never went to school for business or anything, so I'm still learning a lot of stuff along the way, but also there's so much that I wish I had known about coming into the business world and trying to deal with these things, because often I think business owners get lost in their own shuffle, the things that they have to do, and they forget that they have to take care of themselves, that there's other things that still have to be taken care of. And a lot of times business owners are overwhelmed. They don't know how to do it themselves, or they just don't have the confidence to do it, or just they don't have the time. And just thinking about all the things that they don't have time to do just really creates this situation where they feel like they're already in the coffin, so why bother trying to dig themselves out? I've heard that analogy from folks, or from one person. It was bad.
And I've been working full time. I've owned my business since 2009, but I've only been working on it full time since 2013, like basically January 1st, 2013.
Okay.
But I feel like that's only about 5 years.
Yeah.
But I've gotten so much better at it.
We run in similar circles. So actually, so Natalie, why you? Why are you doing this? Why should people listen to what the heck you have to say? Like, I have a good answer for this, but I want you to tell us, the world here, because the whole world is listening.
The whole world.
Every person, which consists of me right now, and hopefully my mom and your mom.
And the 2 podcasts. That are hanging around.
Natalie, podcasts.
Yeah.
I don't know that I can, man. All right, you know what? We're gonna recenter. We're gonna recenter right now.
Back on track.
Back on track. Chop chop. No.
The train is on the tracks.
So why should people listen to you and myself? Like, what value do you think you can provide?
Well, I have 5 years of experience running a small business, and I've definitely gotten a lot better at it. And that's not something that happened accidentally. That's something I've worked really hard at, taking courses and reading books and working really hard to figure things out and to make my business work better with my life and have a better balance and actually have hobbies and free time and weekends off. So there's that. And then the nature of my business is that I work with small business owners all the time. So I build websites for people. And my specialty is building websites for small businesses. And a website touches every part of a business. So I have to get a really good picture of somebody's business to be able to build a successful website for them. And I feel like I often end up being like a business advisor or business counselor in the process of building somebody a website. So in addition to running my own business, I have all this experience from working with other business owners.
Okay. Well, in just the time that I've known you, I've always looked to you as an example for, how to build a business that supports your lifestyle and not the other way around, which I feel like year one, that's a lot of what I was dealing with. I felt like I got thrown right into the tumble dry cycle, and just like, what the hell's going on? And, and all sorts of stuff happened, but, it's a slow process, but, I feel like through the experiences that we acquire, we begin to build processes around, or hopefully we identify what these processes are and understand that there are many tasks that go into that. So I absolutely think that you have a lot of wisdom to impart, and there's a lot that I've learned from you that I've tried to incorporate in my own business, in my own life.
That's a nice compliment.
You know what? I know. Where's my $2? I want my $2 and my drink ticket.
We'll keep a tally.
Well, you know what? My tally is going to be so much higher. It's going to be the best tally, so much higher. So for those who may not know me, so again, my name is, it doesn't matter what my name is. It's what is it?
Alex.
Sure. So we're going to go with that. It's Alex. And so I have a digital marketing company, and we also do a lot of small business websites, but we also do inbound marketing and email automation for folks. So a lot of what we do has to do with just creating materials to market businesses, their services and products. But I also consult with the Small Business Development Center a couple times per week, and that's a branch of the Small Business Administration. And every week I get to sit down with business owners, local business owners, and hear them out about what it is that they are struggling with in trying to market their business. Because for a lot of these folks, the internet is this vast plane. They have a presence, but they don't know what to do. They feel powerless to do anything. Like they have all the power in the world to do a thing, but none of the knowledge to do it. So it's like they even feel worse off because they're like, with all this power, I can't seem to do anything. And then they just feel like a failure. And so a lot of times, I'm doing that counseling too, like trying to tell them, hey, it's okay. Here's what we're going to do. And then put a plan together that they can follow. Again, taking it back to, why did we start this? Why did you want to start this? When you told me the idea, I immediately connected that to the stories of these people, these small business owners that I talked to at the SBDC, and to my own clients. It's like, these are conversations that we should be having in this manner with everyone that we talk to.
And you and I are going to be doing the challenges every week.
Wait, we are?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
That is kind of what you signed up for, buddy.
Whew. I didn't see anything. Wait, we have to do this shit too?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Are we allowed to cuss on this thing?
Yeah, might as well. We're going to get an explicit tag on iTunes.
Are we? Dang, that is so cool. We're going to be like Public Enemy.
Yeah, we're going to be rated NC-17.
Oh, man. Well, that's awesome. So, well, now that we know that we're going to have some homework here, we've already talked a little bit about what it is that we're going to be doing with people listening, small business owners listening. They're going to get homework too.
Oh,
so, I mean, what's that about?
We're all going to do it together.
So, are we doing it together because, like, pain is a dish best served on a buffet? Like, like where everyone gets to have some?
I don't think that's a saying.
I just coined it. Copyrighted. Right there.
Pain is best served as a pizza?
I like pain is best served as a buffet. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be painful.
How so?
Well, I think that if you remember why you started your business and what you're passionate about, hopefully these little tasks will help you feel more in control and let you start enjoying your business and experiencing that sense of passion again.
That right there, it sounds like we almost planned that segue right there, and we totally didn't. But because working like in the business, like doing the tactical day in and day out, you lose sight of the horizon, of the sky. You when I say you, I mean me. I'm speaking personally.
Yeah.
I lose sight of those things, and I forget why. Because I didn't have to choose this. I didn't have to choose to work for myself. I could be working elsewhere for someone else.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to remind myself, why am I doing this? And sometimes that answer is, well, Alex, you're such a jerk. No one would hire you. While probably true, there's some daring people out there who want interesting life experiences who would hire me. However,
The people who haven't met you yet.
yes. Yes, very true. People who have met me never hire me.
Yeah, that must make job interviews tough.
It definitely does. So I try to score that job before the interview. That's going to be on episode 37, so stick around for that. Stick around. But yeah, why did you decide what was your last full-time job that you had before you went independent and started your own business?
I was working at an internet startup.
Internet startup, huh? That's pretty cool. Startups are sexy, right?
Sure. I think people sometimes get really excited about them because they hear things like, oh, there's ping pong tables and trampolines. And
yeah, bruh.
Give you breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. Masseuses come to the office and all this stuff. But the whole reason for all of that is because they don't want you to leave the office. They want you to just be at the office all the time. So it's a lot of work. I just eventually realized that, I go into work every day and I have a choice every day. Like I can go in and I can work really hard and try to do a really good job and make the startup successful. Or I can go in every day and just kind of like look at Facebook all day and not really accomplish anything. But you know what I get out of the way? My paycheck.
Right.
Like nothing more and nothing less. And if I'm going to invest, all of my smarts and my knowledge and my skill and my time into something, I want it to be something that I own and not something that's earning somebody else money.
No.
Not something that's buying somebody else a house in Beverly Hills. I want my own house.
Yeah. No, I think that's I think a beautiful reason. It just, for me, I always felt like I was a spoke on the wheel, and no matter what, that wheel keeps turning. That's just life. Corporations don't care about me. And
no, they really don't.
They don't, turns out. They can vote on stuff, but they don't care about you. So, whatever. I'm not bitter. But, there's so much in the world that we are prescribed to do. And I feel like being able to drive your destiny in some fashion with the work that you choose to do is one thing that I can do that I can totally get behind. So it's exhilarating, it's frustrating, but I'm in it for the long haul. Well, great. So now that we're fighting,
no, I'm never going to talk to you again.
Great. Well, this has been a great first and only podcast.
We have to talk about the challenge.
Oh, the challenge. Okay, wait, do we need to make something up right now, like where we call it the Do Weekly Challenge? Like, do we need a sound bit like the Do Weekly Challenge?
No, we definitely don't need that.
This just got a little awkward.
Yeah,
okay.
It sure did.
Well, good job, Natalie. Always making it weird.
I don't think that was my fault.
Okay.
All right, so do you want to tell everyone what our challenge is for this week?
Well, I do. So
right.
This week's challenge is very simple. Well, it's simple, yet it's often, in my experience, one of the most difficult things that small business owners have to contend with.
I agree.
It happens to 8 in every 2 small business owners.
8 out of every 2?
Maybe the math doesn't track, but I'm sticking with it. So what this is, it's updating your about page.
Of your website.
Of your website, not your friend's website, not your kid's website,
Although oddly, those would be easier than your own, right?
It's always easier to talk about someone else. I feel like I could write Natalie's about page. Like, I could knock that thing to pieces. I should be Natalie's hype person whenever she enters a room, because I would announce your name and then all your accolades and why you're a badass. Just boom, boom, boom.
It might get awkward if I walk into the bank.
That is true, which is why that is the one place I would do it. So, anyway, but what's in an about? What's the deal? What about the about page? What about it, Nat?
I think that number one, it's a page that small business owners tend to like, oh, let me just throw a quick paragraph on there and move on, and not put a lot of time into, which pretty much how mine is right now. Mm-hmm. Because the hardest thing to write about is yourself.
Why is it so hard to talk about yourself?
I don't know. I think part of it is that we're just kind of socially programmed not to brag or talk up our own accomplishments. Mm-hmm. That's part of it, and that's what you want to do on an about page, basically.
Well, so I think that's the about page is a great place. Like, you don't necessarily have to brag or anything, but it's a good place to tell your story. It's a good place to explain what you're passionate about, what pushed you to start your own business, or what sets you apart from the competition.
Or what kinds of customers you like to work with and why.
Right. And I think that's an often overlooked part too, is, you know, who do we want to sell to? Sometimes the answer is, well, I want to sell to everyone. But not everyone is going to be your ideal customer. So the About page is a great place to say who you work with, what you do, what you don't do, and all
why
that good stuff.
Why you're different from all your competition.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a couple of articles from the internet.
From the internet? What?
That we found here that maybe we could talk about for a minute too. Your own sound effects for everything.
So basically, I'm also the Foley artist for this podcast.
Everyone's looking forward to that.
I'm sure. This just got contentious.
So the first article I have is from just about a week ago by Neil Patel on his Quick Sprout blog. Mm-hmm. And he wrote how to create an About Us page that generates leads, which is probably the purpose of your website altogether, right? Is to generate leads for your business.
Well, and that's a good point too. I think goal setting for your website and then your individual web pages, getting ahead, but that's a whole other can of worms too, right?
Other can of worms.
But yeah, so that article by Neil Patel is really good. What are some points that he makes?
He says to start with a strong headline and not to waste space by being repetitive and saying about us again.
That, thank you. That's why do you need to keep repeating stuff about us? How many times do you need to keep saying the same thing? Words and space are precious.
He said they already clicked on about us. You don't need to waste that on a headline.
So
you want something that's going to appeal to your ideal customer.
Mm-hmm.
Something that will sum up your story, and something that will get people excited about reading the rest of the page.
There's another thing that an about page can be used in so many ways. As we talked about, it can be used to tell your story, what you're passionate about, but also if you have things that you've accomplished, then the about page is a great place to do that. So Natalie, case in point, purplepen.com, your website.
My website.
Plug right there. Your about page is pretty direct. It's pretty straightforward. And what's one way that you could improve it?
I think by telling more of my story, because it's pretty short right now. I think there's about a paragraph about the business in general, and then a short bio of myself and a short bio of my office assistant. Yeah,
you could definitely play up all of the awesome things that you do, which are significant. You're an author of 2 books.
Yep.
You were running a nonprofit out of Los Angeles, the Los Angeles chapter of Girl Develop It, right?
Yep. For 3 years.
And you organized this other thing called Website Weekend.
Yes.
What else am I missing? I feel like there's at least 14 other things that I have not listed.
I think that's good enough.
Oh, that's good enough.
Yeah.
That's good enough? Are you sure? What else am I missing? Come on, Natalie. Don't make me dig.
Some WordPress plugins.
So you've got
award-winning WordPress plugins.
Award-winning WordPress plugins. So the point is that even though your About page gets the point across, this is who you are, it doesn't tell the whole story. And in some of these accomplishments, I think what lends itself more to your expertise and to your body of work, right? So that sort of information can help impact the buyer's decision, right? Like, I want to work with this person because they seem to know what they're doing. They have written books. They've done this. They've done that. So those things can be used to drive perception and ultimately a decision for someone to contact you.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. So what do we want people to do specifically? Like, what are we asking these folks to do who manage to have a website? So this is for people that have a website.
Already have a website.
So if you're a small business owner without a website.
If you're a small business owner without a small website or without a website yet, you could still write the content for your About page for your future website.
Thank you for saying that, Natalie, because whenever I talk to people at the Small Business Development Center, I always diagram what they should do, and I always tell people to write their content before they start building that website.
Yes.
A lot of people go straight to Wix or Squarespace or one of these popular website builders, and they're like, they pick a theme, and then they're like, just throwing content on there. It doesn't make any sense. There's no thought to it. It's an afterthought when it should be the first thought, the forethought.
It should be, yep.
Even if you don't have a website,
you could still do this challenge.
You can still do this challenge. Lucky you.
Nobody gets out of it.
No one gets out alive. None of the Do Weekly challenge.
So one thing I wanted to say was I think sometimes people feel a lot of pressure to sound very businessy.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you should treat your About page as a chance for people to get to know you as a business owner, because people don't do business with businesses. People do business with other people.
They say business is business, but business is also but business is personal though. Business is relationships. That's the thing. You're still dealing with real people, real emotions. As nice as it would be to completely extricate those emotions from the business dealings, you can't. Ultimately, we do make decisions based on what's best for our businesses, but there's still personalities in there. There's still that human element, and that's how it should be.
Definitely.
That's how it should be. So, so treat that About page like you would, your best friend who you're comfortable saying all sorts of weird stuff to, but not too weird.
Yeah, don't get too weird.
Don't get too weird. Don't get illegal or anything. Don't make yourself complicit to any illegal activity or anything, because you will go to prison. I know this.
For an About page?
Sure.
All right, then. So just quickly to sum up what the rest of what Neil has to say here, we've already kind of touched on some of it, is tell a captivating story. I think we've talked about, don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't use a lot of jargon. Industry terms like, we both build websites, so there's lots of words we could use that
we do SEO for pay-per-click campaigns. We write HTML and JavaScript. Our for each statements are to die for.
Is that your new About Us page?
Yes, thank you.
Our for each statements are to die for. Add images to break up the text. I actually work with a lot of women business owners, and they're often extremely reluctant to put a photo of themselves on their website.
Why?
First of all, they're often not happy with the way they look, but that's a whole separate body acceptance talk. But sometimes they don't necessarily feel safe putting a picture of themselves out there. But I think it is a really good way to let people get to know you, especially if you can have at least a semi-professional kind of headshot. You know, if you can't afford to hire a professional photographer to do it, have a friend do it. Don't do
Find
a
a
selfie.
friend. I disagree. Look, yeah, get a friend. Here's my professional advice, 2018, okay?
All right.
To get that
For
selfie.
a photo on your website.
For a photo of yourself on your website, rule 1, do not make it a selfie. In fact, make sure that both your hands are in the photo so people know it's not a selfie. Okay, maybe not that
That might
extreme.
be a little awkward.
Okay, step 2. Find a friend with a Pixel XL2 or a
We're pushing
Pixel 2
certain
XL.
phones now.
Look, we're not. We're definitely not sponsored by anybody at this point. But look, for right now, March 2018, the best camera is on that stupid phone.
It is a pretty good camera.
It'll look pretty darn profesh.
It will. Yeah, you know, get some natural daylight, you know, not direct sunlight where you're squinting into the sun. But
And if you do that, make sure to wear lots of sunscreen.
Of course. And let's see, he also says make it memorable and end with a call to action.
Oh, now this is
What
so
is a call to action? Do you want to tell everyone?
Well, a good call to action is, yo, call me.
Hire me.
Hire me. That is the only reason that we have our website. Like, if I was going to make a new website for myself, I think I would just have a button that said, I'd have a line that says, I'm Alex.
Okay.
I'm great. Next line would be a giant button with an icon of a phone, and then the text, call me.
Yeah.
That's it. Because that's what it comes down to, right? Like,
Yeah.
Just call me. Call me.
Yeah.
Tell me you want to talk.
Yeah. So you could ask people to email you.
Yeah.
You could ask people to pick up the phone and call you.
Mm-hmm.
You could ask people to schedule an appointment.
Preach.
So schedule a free 15-minute consultation with me, and you could use an online appointment scheduling service to get that done. You could have people fill out a form. Hey, request a quote from me.
Mm-hmm.
There's all different kinds of ways you could ask people to follow up. Now that they've read your About page, what do you want them to do next?
That, I think, is perfect. So, rewrite that About page. Include something that's human, a story about yourself, why you do what you do, what makes it special. Include a picture of you doing your business, doing your work, a picture of your face. Find a friend with a nice camera or a great camera phone. And then have a call to action. What do you want this person to do who comes to the page? They like what they read. Great. What do you want them to do next? And how do you want them to do it?
So that's the challenge for this week.
That sounds like a lot.
It's just one page.
Okay, it's just one. But you said I have to do it.
Yeah, you do have to do it.
Oh.
I have to do it too.
Well, you know what? Maybe you should rewrite yours and you can rewrite mine. I'm kidding.
Maybe you can rewrite mine and yours.
Why would I do your work too?
Because you like me?
Well, I mean, I do. I think you're pretty cool, but you're not cool enough to do two times the homework.
All right. We'll each do our own.
Okay.
And all the listeners will each do their own.
Yeah, I'm not doing yours, listeners or listener. Mom.
And we'll meet back here in a week.
Meet back here in a week.
We'll talk about how it went.
We'll talk about how it went.
And we'll talk about the next challenge.
All right.
Because it never ends.
It never ends. Why?
Because it's a small business.
And these tasks are...
Weekly.
They're due weekly.
So thanks everybody to listening to our first episode. They'll only get better from here, we promise.
I definitely double-decker promise that these will get so much extra better.
And if you head to our website at doweeklypodcast.com, we'll have show notes with some links to resources if you need some more help getting your About Us page done. And other than that, if you could just subscribe to our podcast to get all of our awesome future episodes, we would appreciate it so much.
What we would appreciate even more is if you rated that 5 stars on everything.
On everything.
On
just everything.
Is it just iTunes or is it everything?
Everything.
Why do I get the feeling you're messing with me? Just 5-star it on iTunes. Tell your mom about it. Tell your kids who don't have businesses about it. Tell Chucky down at the cleaners to listen to it.
Yeah, that's a small business.
It's a small business, and they count too. So, all right, we out.
Yeah, see you next week.
Yay!